Hi, my name is Orion Carmelio Romero, and this is my poem. It's called The Survivor of Everything. In my activism, I often speak about the trauma that made me how I am. I also often talk about the way I came back from that dark place and became stronger. I often attribute my plunging mental health to being raised in a place where nobody looked like me, a race issue, but I also often attribute it to being queer and to being transgender, to being doxxed by right-wing terrorists for being transgender. I speak about the way that I'm treated as a disabled person with a rare chronic illness, and as someone who hasn't officially been diagnosed with autism, but scored very highly on the DSM criteria according to my therapist. And it was my choice not to make it official and give myself another label to be used against me. I can attribute some of my pain to being raised Jewish and the horrific things I've been told by other Jewish people as they tried to convince me that everyone in Palestine deserves to die, and how wrong I am for daring to disagree. I attribute much of my trauma to being objectified and fetishized by people who only wanted me for my body and never saw me for what was in my mind. Just because I was born female and pretty. I could speak about how many times I've been sexually assaulted, but I do not remember. I lost count. I often attribute my recovery from this darkness to my wife, who saw through every mask I put on and encouraged me to be myself, and only myself. I can say what made me better was the COVID lockdown, because I was forced to finally sit with my own thoughts and learn to spend time alone and actually enjoy it. Actually like myself. I can tell you that eventually it was a personal choice to say I'm done and commit to extensive therapy and deciding suicide was not a fail-safe option. I can tell you that when I became a teacher, it was the first job I had that didn't feel like work. It gave me purpose beyond a paycheck. Eventually, when I lost that purpose due to my illness, and my wife became very sick as well, I still kept pushing forward. And I can't tell you how I survived that. My wife did not make it. And I can't tell you why I am still standing. It is not a simple answer. I am tired of choosing what type of fighter I am. Is it the queer issue? Is it the race issue? Is it the ableism? The genocide? I have been hoping and praying all of my life to be able to pick just one. To be able to point fingers at one group and say that is my community. But I am the child of two immigrants from two very different places. I am queer, neurodivergent, disabled person of color who is a survivor of sexual assault, who celebrates Hanukkah and loves God but no longer participates in any religion because the God I know does not match anyone else's, because I do not match anyone else. Do you pray to God for a new planet? To take you somewhere untouched by humanity so you don't have to die to be free? I am often called resilient and admired for my strength, and I urge you to remember that I did not get a choice. I was born an enemy of this country. Transgender people are being eradicated Instead of finding a cure to my disease, medical research right now is being focused on a cure for autism. And I don't think I'd be here without having loved someone with autism who exceeded my expectations for how much one person could care about others. The truth is that my wife's death in theory could have happened to anybody. The doctors missed something significant, and it cost them their life. But is it really coincidence when this many tragedies happen to one pair of people that are routinely pushed aside? I won't name the things my wife has been through. That is their story, but I can tell you they had even more trauma than me. And I can tell you that my wife's death is not the end. I am still in my daily life, being dismissed by medical professionals. My screams for help are ignored, no matter what flavor of discrimination I am facing that day. And why I am still standing? It's because I refuse to bottle feed this country their next casualty, so they can keep only the lives that they want. And if they want mine gone, they will have to take it. Pry it from my tiny, shaking, crippled hands, and when they take it, I hope someone will finally hear me scream when I say I have the right to live. And I am sorry to bring such dark words to people who, like me, are creatures of light and love, but I can no longer address one group of people when I am part of so many. And I hope that while I am still standing, that I can bring all of my groups of people into one fight so nobody else has to die. So one day when I see my wife again, I can tell them something changed and that I lived a long and liberated life. But right now I am not celebrating pride, nor am I pursuing a dream. I am focused on survival. I am mourning Jonathan Joss, praying for Greta, trying to make it through one more day of horrifying news articles, watching people like me fall one by one and wondering if I'm next. And I do not want words of praise or pity. I want justice, and I want to live.